So today is day 22 of the conflict. Can we call it a war yet? Let's talk about India. Will India resume buying Iranian oil? Refiners eye crude return as U.S. grants waiver. As the U.S. temporarily eases sanctions on Iranian oil imports, Indian refiners are eyeing a resumption of crude purchases from Tehran. According to Reuters, several Indian refining companies are awaiting government direction and clarification from Washington on payment terms before finalizing shipments. Now, there was some debate about this online, like the payments have kind of already been made because the traders buy it first, right? And then they pass it on, they sell it again to the refineries. So it's a little bit of an open question about who's paying what to whom. The bottom line is that the U.S. has enough control, I guess, over the rails or the payment system that whatever money that is coming in is not really supposedly going to the Iranian government. Indian refiners who maintain relatively smaller crude stockpiles compared with other major Asian buyers have been exploring options to add Iranian crude to their supply mix since Washington granted a temporary waiver on sanctions. The waiver is valid for 30 days and is part of a broader efforts to ease an energy crunch caused by disruptions in Middle East oil flows. The waiver outlined by U.S. Secretary Scott Bessent covers oil loaded on or before March 20th. So again, we talked about this yesterday and earlier that it's oil already on the water. So it's already on ships passing through the Arabian Sea. They should be like in the Arabian Sea by now. And so it has to be loaded on or before March 20th, and it has to be discharged by April 19th. This is the third temporary waiver since the start of the ongoing conflict. According to consultancy Kepler, about 170 million barrels of Iranian crude are estimated to be in transit, stretching from Middle East Gulf to waters near China. Asia relies on the Middle East for around 60% of its crude needs. The disturbances in shipments via the Strait of Hormuz have forced many refineries to cut runs and scale back exports. There are roughly 130 to 140 million barrels at sea, which represents less than 2 weeks' worth of production losses. With sanctions temporarily lifted, India and other Asian buyers are exploring opportunities to stabilize supplies. A Singapore-based trader highlighted that it may take time to work through admin, banking, and regulatory hurdles before cargoes can be confirmed for delivery. The temporary waiver does not authorize new crude production to be exported from Iran, but rather covers purchases of oil already loaded onto vessels by the cutoff date, again, oil on the water. Before sanctions were reimposed, major buyers of Iranian crude included China, India, South Korea, Japan, Italy, Greece, Taiwan, and Turkey. Indian refiners have recently turned to alternative sources such as Russian and West African crude to mitigate supply shocks as disruptions to Middle Eastern exports have tightened markets and pushed up benchmark prices. The potential return to Iranian oil, if formalized with clear guidance from New Delhi and Washington, could help stabilize supply for the world's third largest crude importer. And also, I guess there's a rumor that the Japanese also got a ship through Hormuz earlier today.